Hello there. Guess what? I made it happen. It has been a journey of finding out about lives. I know you've probably recognized the color of this hair, and so technology can be a challenge, but I am a tenacious person and I am going to figure it out. I think I've made every mistake in the book, but now I'm here with you, excited to share with you because there's about 30 years of pin up information in here in this brain that needs to come out to all of you to encourage you with your children with learning challenges, and especially those with dyslexia. Well, I hope you can recognize my jacket that I've put on here. Um, I love spring, and this jacket reminds me of spring. And I just wanted to share a little bit about me. I love flowers. Not only do I love spring, I was born in May, um, but I love flowers. But I'm married to a man that does not see the benefit of live, or he sees the benefit of live flowers, but those dead flowers that you cut and you send in a bouquet to your wife, he's never seen the value of that. So I talked him into creating a rose garden for me so he could give me the rose bush one time and it would just keep giving me flowers. Well, I was gifted with some bulbs, uh, all kinds of bulbs, like about 12 different packages of them. And I thought, I'll put them in my rose garden in between the rose bushes. So I was working on this, and it's a lot of work planting bulbs. They have to go deep. And as I'm working on this, I'm reminded of neurodevelopment. Now, God often speaks to me in nature. And I was just seeing the correlation that a lot of people have of doing these activities, these neurodevelopmental activities, and you're really going by faith because you don't see anything happening. You don't know that those brain pathways are being developed, and it's just kind of like underground, like a bulb. But one day, and it's already happening in my garden, it got warm enough for those bulbs to start poking up. And so there's hope for a beautiful rose garden. That's what I want you to think about as you start your journey with neurodevelopment. Now, what is neurodevelopment? It's like what does that even mean? It may be a new term to you. That is the way the brain works, neuro having to do with the brain and developing. How does it develop so that your function goes from a tiny baby that can just do random movements to athletes that can do amazing things with their bodies? So the same thing happens with our brain as well. Now, as we get into this series that we're talking about the root causes of dyslexia that were identified by Orton, I want you to do some subscribing and liking these videos so more people like you that are looking for help for their child can find this video. So if you remember from the first video, I talked about how Orton, like almost 100 years ago, found these 5 different things that were happening with people that had these issues of dyslexia, symptoms of dyslexia. So they often had balance problems, coordination, dominance problems, eye issues, and obviously phonetic awareness. Now, today, we're going to delve into the balance part of that. And you might think, how in the world does balance have anything to do with my child who can't read? So let's delve into this a little bit more because it really has a lot to do with it. And a lot of people don't think about it. Well, where does our balance come from? A lot of our balance has to do with our inner ear. And the way God put us together is our inner ear is directly associated with our eye movements. So there's messages that come from our inner ear, our vestibular balance, and it goes to the brain and it sends a message to this reflex that causes our eye muscles to move in a certain way. So some people have balance issues and they think that they really have eye issues and they go to the doctor and the doctor says, no, there's nothing wrong with your eyes, everything's fine. But if you really think about it, how we are just amazingly made that different parts of our anatomy affect other parts. And this has been very interesting journey for me over the years as the primitive reflexes have become much more popular. A lot of people know about primitive reflexes now, and they're concentrating on primitive reflexes. And the primitive reflexes do need to be integrated and step back and be there for emergencies. But because of what we're doing with our infants and the way we're doing some development with our children, especially in the US, these reflexes are not getting integrated. What we found is neurodevelopmentalists, if we just take a child, even if they're 15, through specific developmental stages of both movement and processing and a whole myriad of things that are combined together, then those reflexes just integrate on their own. You don't have to specifically work on them. And so that's what's really exciting is God made it where this would all just happen naturally. But now because we're not doing some of those things, we're having to work on primitive reflexes. Just so that you know, the your balance has to do with three primitive reflexes. One is the TLR, and that is directly involved with your vestibular and has everything to do with your concentration ability. There's the STNR, which actually causes you to sit up with good posture. If you see your child, slumping and they always want to sit on their feet, it's a good possibility that the STNR is active in keeping them from doing that. It also, the STNR has to do with head movements. When your head is moving, your arms and legs want to move at the same time because of that reflex. And it's nothing that they can really control. It's just like hitting your knee and your leg, hitting that part of your knee at the doctor and your foot jumps up. That's the same thing. That's a reflex. And can you control that? Even if you think really hard, I'm not going to move my leg, I'm not going to move my leg, you end up moving your leg because it is a reflex. So, um, the so that's going to interfere. You can imagine as the head is moving and the body's in a poor posture, um, and as the head moves, the arms and legs want to move. That's going to cause the child to have concentration issues as well. And then there's another reflex called the ATNR, where when you move your head, your arm wants to go with it. So you can imagine as you're reading along on a line and your arm wants to follow your hand. It causes a lot of trouble with writing from left to right and also reading from left to right as well. So, like I said, neurodevelopment, if we just do those activities that integrate all of those things naturally, we don't have to work, you don't really have to worry about what is TLR and STNR and ATNR, what is all that? It just happens naturally. Um, so I want you to look into neurodevelopment more. We've got a website, brainsprints.com, that you can get lots of information. There's articles, free articles there for you to um, look at. And we also have screenings where we test for these certain uh, areas of specific development that are really involved with dyslexia. And we call that a neurodevelopmental screening. That's also offered on our website, you can look under services and find the neurodevelopmental screening and free consults. We have a wonderful lady in our office named Bobby who would be glad to talk with you about where your child is and some solutions that we can offer to equip you to get rid of the root causes. You know, balance is just one of them. And that's one of the things, obviously, that we would work with in our programs. But what you've probably experienced most is the Orton Gillingham method. Now, you know, Orton said there was all these other things, but somehow they settled on phonics as being the approach. It's a very intense phonics program, and we have some people that just swear by it. It just like was the answer to everything that they needed. The child just needed some extra help on phonetic awareness. But if any of these other areas are involved, it keeps the progress low. One of the key areas that we believe that keeps the progress low, especially if they're doing Orton Gillingham, or one of those that's based on that, which basically all of them are these days, and that is um, the auditory processing. Your auditory processing has everything to do with your ability to use phonics. So, what's auditory processing? That is where you hold pieces of information together, and you can see that if you have these different phonograms and you're saying them, but you can't hold them together, that's going to be a big problem. Or if it's so laborious and you're at cat, you're doing that through a sentence, then you don't have a clue what you read because it was so laborious. So, what I want you to do is check out our auditory processing test kit. Go to the bottom of the page of our homepage at brainsprints.com and you can download your free kit there, test your child, and see where they are. They need to have at least a 5-digit span, working on 6 to handle phonics well. So if you want your um, phonics to really take off, make sure your child is good at processing. They can hold those pieces together and then things will go much smoother. But even above that, what I want you to do is hang in with me because every week we're going to do another one of these episodes of what does coordination have to do with dyslexia? What does dominance have to do with it? What do eye issues have to do with dyslexia? We're going to delve into each one each week. And when we put all those together, it's an um, amazing outcome that we have. Oftentimes, the kids come up a year every 4 months in math and reading. So just keep searching. I know that you can you can find the answers if you keep looking. Um, you know, I just had one other thought about a story that was told to me. I went to talk to one of the local principals and find out what the situation was there with their dyslexia program. And they had this one child that had been in the Orton Gillingham type program for 2 years and still could not read hardly at all. And they were just giving up on that and just putting her in something else. So that's the kind of thing I was talking about. If there are these other underlying issues, you want to find out what they are, you want to treat those at the root cause, and that's the kind of things that we can help you with. I'd love for you to make comments in the bottom, um, down in the comments section. We'd be glad to answer those or put those in the next video for you. So thanks so much for being here. I am so excited to be able to make this happen so that you can get the information you need to help your child. For now, it's the Brain Coach signing off.